Welcome to this edition of Ethical Sustainable Investment News and Analysis to Profit By. I'm Ron Robbins, an ethical investing pioneer for over 40 years, quoted in the Wall Street Journal, MarketWatch, the Globe and Mail, and numerous other media, and founder of the highly respected global ethical sustainable investing information website, Investing for the Soul. And please listen to my disclaimer statement at the end of this podcast. Now enjoy this podcast. Hello, Ron Robbins here. Welcome to podcast episode 41, published on September 25th, titled Vegan Fund Outperforms and More, and presented by Investing for the Soul. InvestingfortheSoul.com is your site for vital global ethical and sustainable investing news, commentary, information, and resources. Remember that you can find a full transcript, links to content including stock symbols, and bonus material at this episode's podcast page located at investingforthesoul.com/podcast, and Google any terms that are unfamiliar to you. A year ago, in my podcast of September 13th, 2019, I covered the launch of the US Vegan Climate ETF. Well, the ETF professor at benzinga.com published a piece that also appeared on MarketWatch titled, "In First Year, Nifty Vegan ETF Struts Its Stuff." Here are some quotes from the article. The US Vegan Climate ETF, stock symbol VEGN, that's VEGN, celebrated its first birthday last week and tracks the Beyond Investing US Vegan Climate Index. That benchmark is designed to provide investors with exposure to companies zero animal exploitation and zero fossil fuel, represents a portfolio of stocks with low greenhouse gas emissions, waste generation, and fresh water utilization as compared to the S&P 500 Index, according to Beyond Investing. Since inception, VEGN has returned 27.69% total return on market price against the S&P 500 Index's 19.75% through to the end of August 2020, according to Beyond Investing. VEGN implements an array of impact metrics, including greenhouse gases, water utilization, water generation, social good, environmental benefit, environmental harm and social harm in constructing its portfolio. Since its conception, Beyond Investing has always avoided companies involved in unethical practices towards animals, people, and the planet, said VEGN's issuer. Its stringent screening process weeds out animal exploitation, child labor, high carbon intensity, the burning or extraction of fossil fuels, and single-use plastics, and any other activity deemed to have a significant negative impact on the environment. Demand for meat and dairy products has declined for the first time in 9 years, notes Beyond Investing, leaving aside the documented links between environmental destruction, animal exploitation, and the emergence of COVID-19, slaughterhouse stoppages because of high worker infection rates resulting in on-farm killing and disposal of animals, have been public relations disasters for the industry. Conversely, sales of plant-based products have been booming. End quotes. Further support for the vegan vegetarian investing theme is coming from the climate campaign movement as a headline in a recent Financial Times article titled, "Climate Campaigners Turn Their Focus from Fossil Fuels to Meat." It makes clear that's the story. Next, we have another good report from Kiplinger titled 16 of the Most Popular Stocks Among Millennials, written by Charles Lewis Sizemore, or Sizemore. Sorry if I spelled that or say that incorrectly. I've picked from them 4 stocks that might be considered by most ethical and sustainable investors. For the full list, click the article link in this podcast episode. Mr. Sizemore writes that, for a generation known for doing things its own way and projecting their values with their pocketbook, the stock portfolios of millennials are remarkably conventional. What's far more interesting about the list, however, is which stocks have become more popular among millennials across the year. All these stocks have seen significant jumps in the rankings since the end of March, and several will likely surprise you. 1. Moderna is popular among millennials, coming in at 40th in the second quarter after not being ranked at all in the first. It's not hard to see the investment play here. Moderna is one of the leading candidates for a COVID-19 vaccine. 2. Beyond Meat, which makes plant-based veggie burgers and other meat substitutes, climbed the ranks over the past quarter from 50th to 41st. 3. Genius Brands International has suddenly found itself popular with millennials. The stock was unranked in the first quarter, but now finds itself ranked 46th. Genius Brands creates and licenses content with a purpose for toddlers and young children. That's a fancy way of saying educational cartoons. 4. Nikola is very much a millennial story stock. Nikola makes electric and fuel cell 18-wheeler trucks. It only went public on June 4th, but by the end of June, it had already rocketed higher to become the 49th most popular stock in millennial portfolios. End quotes. I've talked a lot about renewable and alternative energy stocks in these podcasts, but one segment in that area I haven't covered are really small companies. Joseph Keller has penned an article titled 3 Alternative Energy Penny Stocks to Watch Today that appeared on the microsmallcap.com site. I'll mention the name of each company, followed by some of Mr. Keller's remarks about the company. 1. Gevo Inc. is a biofuel and renewable chemicals company based outside of Denver, Colorado. As has been the case for most green technology stocks, Gevo's stock price took a tumble throughout the first 3 months of the year. On August 20th, however, the company's stock price more than tripled to $1.84 per share after Gevo announced that it had entered into a definitive agreement for a $50 million registered direct offering. 2. Taranis Fuels Inc. Taronis Fuels is a clean technology company based out of Phoenix, Arizona, focused on offering energy solutions using proprietary clean gas technology. Taronis Fuels stock took a slide as the COVID-19 pandemic choked markets, going from 23 cents per share in early March to 8 cents on March 23rd. 3. EarthRenew Inc. Based in Calgary, Alberta, EarthRenew Inc. is an agricultural technology company with proprietary technology that transforms livestock waste into organic fertilizer. After taking a fall to 15 cents per share in late March, EarthRenew recovered to reach a high of 40 cents per share in mid-June. On August 26th, EarthRenew released the results from field trials conducted with Lethbridge College. These results showed that EarthRenew's fertilizer formulations increased plant growth by up to 207% for barley and up to 49% for peas during the germination phase. End quotes. More on energy by a new analyst to this podcast. His name is Siddharth Gupta, and he wrote an article titled 3 Stocks to Electrify Your Portfolio's Returns that appeared on the stocknews.com site. As usual, I'll mention the name of the recommended company, followed by relevant quotes about that company from the article. 1. Tesla Inc. Well, I think we know. Tesla designs, develops, manufactures and sells electric vehicles, electric vehicle powertrain components, and stationary energy storage systems in the United States, China, and internationally. It is the world's only fully integrated sustainable energy company. The stock gained 406% year-to-date to close yesterday's session at $423.43. Strong product demand from China and its battery unique development are primarily driving the stock higher. The stock is up more than 395% in the last 6 months. Tesla has an overall POWR rating of B. 2. Plug Power Inc. Plug is an alternative energy technology provider that engages in the design, development, manufacture, and commercialization of fuel cell systems for the industrial off-road markets worldwide. It provides hydrogen fuel cell turnkey solutions for the electric mobility and stationary power markets. The stock is up more than 134% in the last 3 months and is trading 10.5% below its 52-week high of $14.35. Plug's POWR ratings reflect a promising outlook. It has an overall rating of buy. 3. Workhorse Group Inc. designs, manufactures, and sells electric high-performance medium-duty trucks. The stock has gained more than 822% year-to-date to close yesterday's trading session at $28.03. The stock skyrocketed in June when the company announced that 2 of its electric delivery vans had completed federal motor vehicle safety standards testing, paving the way for its sales and production in the United States. The stock has increased by more than 1,662% in the past 6 months. Workhorse Group's strong momentum is reflected in its strong buy POWR rating. End quotes. Another name in the renewable energy field is Algonquin Power, recommended by Robin Brown in a post titled 2 Top TSX Income Stocks to Buy in September 2020. TSX is the Toronto Exchange. I saw it on the Canadian Motley Fool site. Mr. Brown says this about the company, quote, investors benefit from a very predictable cash flow stream from the regulated natural gas, electricity, and water distribution businesses. They also benefit from the favorable ESG and green investing tailwinds that will fuel green energy earnings and multiple expansion for many years ahead. By combining these 2 unique segments, investors get stability, consistency, and growth. The stock is paying a nice 4.5% dividend, but there's lots of room for that to grow." End quote. Well, these are my top news stories and their stock and fund tips for this podcast, Vegan Fund Outperforms, and more. To get all the links, stock symbols, or to read the transcript of this podcast and more, go to investingforthesoul.com/podcasts and scroll down to this episode. Also, be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons in iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download or listen to this podcast. And please click the share buttons to share this podcast with your friends and family. Let's promote a better world through ethical and sustainable investing. Contact me if you have any questions. Stay well and healthy and conscious about the sustainable values of your investments. Thank you for listening. Talk to you again on October 9th. Bye for now. Learn how to create a simple portfolio reflecting your personal values by taking my 1-hour tutorial. Go to investingforthesoul.com/podcasts and click the link in the right-hand column for my DIY Ethical Sustainable Investing Pays tutorial. Now, I'll mention in the podcast if I have any direct interest or holdings in companies or securities I'm talking about. Furthermore, any news, opinions, analysis, or other information offered by myself, as well as references and information to or from other external sources in this podcast, is provided as general market information and should not be relied upon and thus does not constitute investment advice. Investors should consult their own licensed investment professional before making investments. Also, I will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on information in this podcast. Do contact me at ronr@investingforthesoul.com. Signing off, this is Ron Robbins.